Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Triangle Offense. I'm Monish and as always I'm joined by Nishant. On today's episode, we must speak about a star that we thought was coming, but he hasn't arrived yet. Zion Williamson, what's up with him? He's been struggling with the New Orleans Pelicans. Honestly, I've seen more highlights of him when he was in college than as an NBA player. So, on today's episode, we'll focus on Zion and the New Orleans Pelicans and what's happening with them. Why they're not yet in the playoff contention zone? Because they have really Brandon Ingram is performing like an all-star. He was the most improved player last year. He's even more improved this year. But Zion Williamson hasn't really risen up to the challenge. So we'll focus on that. Hey Nishant, what's up with Zion Williamson? Have you seen him play lately?
I have. Has his coach seen him play lately? Because it looks like either nobody is watching it and giving him the kind of guidance he needs, or somebody in that franchise is actively preventing him from like playing balls out all the time.
Yeah, I mean, so I was looking at some numbers and I've watched his games and his offense seems okay. I mean, he's getting those points. He's great on the offensive rebounding side. He shows that effort. My worry with him is as a defender, he leaves the team one man short. It's pretty much players are running past him. It's like it looks like they're defending with four instead of five, and it kind of shows in the results that New Orleans Pelicans have not been getting wins when he's on the floor. They've not been getting points. Is it something to do with? There are multiple reasons this could be, right? Is it something to do with
Yeah.
him not putting enough effort as a demotivated player? Him not putting effort as a result of the fear of injuries because he's had
Hmm.
one last season, a
Hmm.
big one, which made him miss most of the season. A result of the strategy because they don't know what they're doing. They
Yeah.
have multiple big people on the floor, like Steven Adams is there, Zion Williams is there,
Right.
and they don't know what really they're trying to achieve over there. It could be multiple reasons. What do you think is going on there?
Yeah, I don't think they're treating Zion as a big as they shouldn't. He's 6'5". Yeah, he's got incredible leaping ability, but I don't think they expect him to play or serve them as a 4 or 5. I don't think that's the expectation
Mm-hmm.
now. Um, yeah, I've thought about all of these, right? And then let's take them one on one at face value, one by one. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The first is that is Zion Williamson overly cautious of avoiding injury, and none of his play on offense suggests that that's
Yeah.
what it is. Like even in bad games, you will see those highlight plays, you will see those needlessly acrobatic finishes. Needlessly, I'm saying only from the perspective of avoiding injury. Otherwise, it's always
Yeah.
welcome to see someone like him show off his ability. But so I don't think that's what is stopping him. Is it is it his coach and the org? Yeah, maybe I've always had the sense that they've been needlessly overprotective of
Mm-hmm.
Zion, especially when he came back from the bubble last year. He was a
Yeah.
young guy, 18, 19, whatever injuries he's had. Unless you've come out and declared that it's something like an Achilles or an ACL tear and it's career threatening, whatever injuries he's had and niggles he's had, either you're not telling us something and there's something very seriously wrong with him and there's something that you fear can snap at any point. Because otherwise, I didn't get why an 18, 19-year-old coming off of a 5-month hiatus that the entire league gave him
Yep.
still needs restricted minutes
Yep.
and was only unleashed later on. And they really didn't go for it. They couldn't give a damn about where they finished that season. I
Yep.
said, all right, cool. Maybe you said, let the season go. Let's come back stronger next year. But they haven't come back stronger next year. It's the
Right.
same or probably even worse than it was. We bet so much on the futures of these kids. I remember at the start of the season, we said these guys are a lock for a playoff spot because of
Right.
the team that they have and how fast they're developing. But they're not, are they? They haven't secured Lonzo's future. So the jury is still out on whether they want to keep him or not. If not, that'll be a very interesting free agent pickup for a lot of teams because he can
Yep.
defend too. He can play make and defend.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Brandon Ingram. I don't know if he's improved really this season because his
Mm-hmm.
numbers are largely the same. The production is largely the same. What he can and cannot do is largely the same. And there's no real difference to team impact or team performance either. So I don't know if Ingram has improved necessarily. Has Zion? No, the numbers again are the same. He's putting up largely the same numbers on pretty much the same shooting accuracy, but with
Mm-hmm.
more minutes played per game. That's a worrying sign. The trend should be upwards at this young age, not down, not stagnant, not down. So all of these things combined, and there's one other factor that I think we should consider, which is why are we expecting defense from Zion? Like, what led us to believe that this guy, we should flat out expect that he'll be good? Because a lot of rookies aren't great
Mm-hmm.
defensively. It's something.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the last things you like. Luka Doncic still doesn't know how to defend. He's improving. He's picking up. Maybe 3 years down the line, he's going to be a good defender in the league. But right
Mm-hmm.
now, no clue. Defense is not his thing. Right? Very clearly not his thing. There are players who go through their entire career not picking up defense and not having the IQ to perform on defense. So what led us to believe Zion would be a good defender? Are we perhaps misled by those highlight plays we saw in college? We saw these monster blocks.
Yep.
Maybe those monster blocks were just that, an indication of how high he can jump and how fast he can move across the court, rather than an indication of defensive IQ, positional awareness, and the ability to get clutch stops. Maybe he was never that guy. Maybe those big blocks and highlight montages kind of misled us into believing he's going to be a ready-made defender. Not saying he
Right.
can't defend, but I'm saying it's fine. At this stage, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not as worried about his lack of elite defense, if I can call it that,
Mm-hmm.
as I am about the trend going down or largely being stagnant. Now, I'll
Okay.
temper all this by reminding everyone that last season and this season combined, Zion is still yet to play even half a season of NBA basketball. So
True.
it's entirely
That's true. That.
possible that the judgment is a bit harsh. Um,
Mhm.
but he is the number one draft pick. And
Yes.
I looked at Ja Morant halfway through the season last season, looked more of a lock to be a great player and an all-star in the years to come than Zion is right now. Zion right now is an all-star on the basis of the highlight plays, not on the
Right.
basis of how good he is overall, because there's a
Right.
lot of guys that can ultimately put up the kind of production that he's putting up right now
Mm.
and still not get a look in into the all-star game. He's largely going to come in on a popular vote at this stage. So it's a young player with whose upside is largely predicated upon his genetic freak of nature build and not
Right.
necessarily on skill right now. And
Right.
scouts are not wrong to value that, but this is one of those it can go either way kind of cases. And if he has a great career, it's still going to fall short of expectations because the hype has been unreal so far. The hype has been nothing short of LeBron James.
Absolutely. I remember when the draft pick took place last season, and then we saw his highlight reels, and they were
Yeah.
hyping up to the level of what LeBron James got, what, 15 years ago, 16 years
Yeah.
ago, right? So it's kind of disappointing that Zion has not lived up to that, because everyone was really excited to see this walking, talking 6'5" who could just slam the
Yeah.
ball into the crowds with his blocks,
Yeah.
and that has not really happened. I think yes, we might be a little harsh on him because, like you said, he's played like 40 games in his career, so
Sure.
that's a little too harsh, I believe. But expected more from him. That's pretty much
Yeah,
the
for sure.
reason
For
for
sure.
this entire talk, right?
Yeah, I want to.
But
Sorry, I just want to point out when because you mentioned that we might be too harsh, and I agree. It may be just he's less than 40 games old in the NBA, so that's definitely an angle to consider. But expanding on the Jamarant angle that I
mm-hmm,
introduced just a short while
mm-hmm,
ago, it's his career progression is what you would expect from the best rookie in the league. Let's just say that last season he
right,
picked up rookie of the year. And for me, it's even more of a joke now that there was
mm-hmm,
even an argument that was trying to be made that Zion deserves rookie of the year for the numbers he put
oh,
up in like 20, 25 games that he played. It's atrocious that seasoned, well-respected sports journalists even suggested something like this after Jamoran did what he did for the entirety of the season on a
yep,
bum team where he didn't have as much support as Zion has at in New Orleans. Ja Morant this season is significantly better. He's
true,
averaging nearly 5 points a game more. His assists are largely the same. Rebounds have gone down a bit, but he's a point guard. Why are we looking at rebounds? It's not like
mm-hmm,
every point guard in the game should be a triple double machine. So
mm-hmm,
rebounds are slightly down. I'll give you that. But his defense has improved. Just the eye test. Numerically, it's improved too. But just the eye test, you can tell he's putting in a lot more
yep,
effort, and he's a lot more aware tactically of where to
yep,
be on the court and when.
yep,
And shooting percentage efficiency has gone up big time. Like his true shooting has gone up like 6 percentage points.
mm-hmm,
Um, that's the trajectory I'd expect from the best rookie in the league or a top three rookie in the league from last season coming into sophomore year. With Zion,
right,
it's largely been stagnant or, in fact, regressed a bit. It's less than half a season in the league games wise, but that's not a great sign. And I'm looking to the coaching. With a player this young, you never question the player. You always question the coaching and what they're doing to put him in positions to improve.
Hmm. So even when you talked about the top three rookies, right? I was looking at
Mhm.
RJ Barrett's numbers. His numbers have gone up significantly. He
Yeah,
looks like a player that they predicted him to be. And when they did the draft last year, there was a big thing about how the top three were so good, and then there was a big fall in the standard of the
right.
4, 5, 6, right? So Ja Morant has improved. RJ Barrett surprisingly has improved. New York Knicks are doing well, but the Pelicans and Zion Williamson kind of remained stagnant.
Right.
What do you think the Pelicans do from here? Because I was looking at them like a top team. Brandon Ingram is out there playing like he's playing like a all-star player. Let's put it that way. Zion Williamson was there, whom we expected to be that kind of level, and they had enough draft picks to trade for a big star and actually make a run for it. Maybe this year, maybe next year, but that somehow doesn't seem to work out. Do you think they can still do that, or do you think there's still an upside to this team?
I think if I'm the GM running the Pelicans right now, I want to see what Zion's best is, and I want to see what Brandon
Mhm.
Ingram's best is. We've seen Brandon Ingram rise to the level of an all-star, but give me your best games, best run of games. Give me Zion's best run of games. So I know what I have, so I know what I need. I
Mhm.
need to see what gaps need to be plugged. There's also the call of what do you do with Lonzo? They've not extended him, so he's a free agent at the end of the year. That's a big
Right.
hole to plug because he's your starting point guard. Whatever the dependency, that's a hole to plug for sure. So what are you thinking in that position? Because if you want to trade for a point guard, okay, who's available? Not that great, not that deep a field. If you want to draft a point guard,
Mhm.
is it another tanking season that you're looking at? And once that question's answered, then there's the question of what to do with those draft picks. Are you going to need one of those picks? Are you going to are you willing to give up a bunch of them? And then there's what do you get in return? Do you go for a Bradley Beal? What piece do you need? Because do you just need an elite scorer? Do you need a two-way
Right.
player? Do you need a wing? Do you need a leader that can tie all this together? Like, is it enough for you to get a Gordon Hayward type
Mhm.
all-star kind of all-star player that can deliver production? Or do you need a Chris Paul sort of leader that will come in and galvanize all these young guys like how he's doing in Phoenix or how he did last season with
Mhm.
OKC? All of these questions can only be accurately answered once they see what this team's capable of, what the ceiling is. At this point, I don't even think they're trying. Like
Right.
I'm confused with the Pelicans right now. If you want to tank, go ahead and tank. If you want to go for it, go for it. At least the Knicks are overachieving, outperforming beyond anyone's wildest expectations. Same with the Cavs. What
Right.
are these guys doing? It's confusing to me at this stage.
So where would you, if you had to pick a New Orleans Pelicans standings for the end of the regular season, where would you put them? Would you put them still in the top 10? Do you think they can really make a run for it and stay in
Yeah,
contention, or nah, forget it, we'll try again next year?
yeah, this team really confuses me. Like even now, they can, of course, they can be a top 10 team if they go for it.
Yep.
Do they want to go for it or are they going to tank from this point on? It's really anyone's guess. But I'll say this team can absolutely make the top 10 and then gun for a playing game kind of run of success and just
Mm-hmm.
see the postseason. Just get there, play
Yep.
play a series and learn what it's like to go up against the same team again and again and again, where you have a chance to make adjustments and improve, but they also have a chance to pick you apart tactically. That experience is priceless, especially when you've
Mm-hmm.
got a team as the Pelicans.
Yeah, and when we say young, it's not really all that young, right? They have the experience of Steven Adams. They have Eric Bledsoe, who they've added, who's really seen
What the
playoffs,
hell
but
has
he hasn't
Steven
really
Adams ever
performed.
done in the playoffs?
Uh,
He's been there. That's about as
he's
best
been
as
there. Eric
he's been
Bledsoe's
knocked
been
out
there.
by
He's never
Dame
done
Lillard.
anything in
He's
the
been
playoffs either.
what?
Eric Bledsoe's been there. He's never done anything in the playoffs either. Twice.
Ouch. Yeah, exactly. So, and also it's one thing to have players that can guide you in the playoffs, and sure, Bledsoe and Steven Adams have had some experience there, but it's another to live that experience, to be there
True.
and see for yourself. Because Bledsoe, Steven Adams, they'll tell you about the pressure, they'll tell you about how teams can make adjustments and come back at you and all of that, and maybe they can prep you in terms of take things slow, let the game come to you, all of that kind of tempered advice that youngsters usually need, like AD was giving Kuzma. What they can't tell you is how does it feel to be Zion Williamson and have the defense treat you like Zion Williamson in the playoffs?
Yeah.
That's got to be experienced. So it's the same for Brandon Ingram, same for Lonzo. So It'll be valuable for them. The question is, do they really want to go for it or just outright tank from this point on?
All right, so that was the New Orleans Pelicans, and that was our take on them. It'd be interesting to follow their progress, especially that of Zion Williamson. We'll keep our eyes on them, and I think he'll come up plenty of times during the course of the season. Whether he has a good game or whether he has a bad game, I know that he's going to be under the spotlight all the time, isn't
For
he?
sure. Mhm.
So that's about the New Orleans Pelicans. That's all for today. We'll catch up tomorrow after today's games.
All right. Peace.